thanks for joining me again for another build video. Today we're going to be doing the MeteOrb Sorceress. That is Meteor and Frozen Orb. Frozen Orb used to be one of my favorite abilities back in D2 1.09, 1.08 or so. Because you could make, a Frozen Orb with Thunderstorm and stuff, and that was your main skills. But then with the addition of synergies and everything, that changed. But Frozen Orb is still a pretty good skill. So let's get started with the MeteOrb build. Alright, so we're still going to need our classic utilities. Okay. And we're going to start by going down the fire tree. Okay, we're going to need one in warmth. Okay. And so Fireball is going to be one of our main attacks, and Meteor is going to be one of our main attacks as well. Okay. And then of course we're going to want these at least frozen armor. Maybe even go, if you want to get the additional defense, go with Shiver armor. It has a tiny bit more defense. It doesn't freeze them, but it has more defense. And then I say, if you want to get even more defense against ranged attacks, you can use Chilling armor, but that's if you have the points to spare, really. Okay. So these are optional if you want, but definitely you want this. Alright. Now, we will be going to Frozen Orb as well. And we're going to need one in Cold Mastery, okay? Now, our main attack is going to be... We're going to need one of these as well. Alright, our main attacks are going to be Fireball. Alright. So you're going to want to max this one. And Meteor, of course. This is pretty high damage. And you're going to want to put in about, since both of these gain from Firebolt, you're going to want to put in about, let's say 18 or so into this one, okay? And then for Fire Mastery, you're going to put in about 12, all right? Now, since we can't kill fire immunes by being a pure fire build, we're going to need to max this one as well. Okay, and this should be about it for the MeteOrb build. Alright, so there we go. Alright, and you'll see that we get some pretty good plus skills, so we don't need to worry about having such a low fire and cold mastery, because they will pretty much take care of themselves. Alright. But if we took it to equipment, and as you know, this is going to be a towel set build, so it's going to be optimized for the towel set to make things easy. Alright, so we're going to be using Towel's Mask. Okay, and the socket, I leave up to you, but if you're feeling rich and min-maxish, maybe go with a Burr Rune in this one because of the damage reduction, okay? Because Towel Set does not have any damage reduction at all, as you can see here. Okay? But I leave that up to you. Okay. So for Amulet, it's obviously going to be Towel Set as well. And the armor, Towels, Guardianship, okay? And the socket for this one, I also leave this one up to you. You could put a Cham in there for the Cannot Be Frozen. You could also put a Burr in here. Or an Ist if you're feeling min-max and rich. Or, even just a perfect Topaz would be fine. But I'm going to leave that up to you. You decide. Okay. Now, for the weapon, that'll be Towel's Orb as well. And try to make sure you get a +2 to Cold Mastery and a +2 to Fire Mastery. These are going to be your important ones for this build, okay? So make sure you get that covered. Alright. Now, for the shield, we'll still be using a Spirit Shield and a Monarch. And you're definitely going to want 35 cast rate because we're going to just be reaching that 105% breakpoint for cast. Alright. Now, let's finish out the Tal's set here and go ahead and put in Tal's belt. Alright, and that should be all of them. The crest, the guardianship, the eye, the amulet, and the belt. Okay? Alright. Now, what other things are we going to be using? Well, for this set, we need Sandstorm's Trek, okay? And an ethereal one is good because these auto repair, but we really want this for the hit recovery, and it's got some good stats and resists on here. Okay. Now, for the gloves, we're going to definitely be using Mage Fists, and because of this plus fire skills, right? And these are just incredible gloves overall. And I would say you can upgrade these maybe once or so, and that would be enough. Maybe even, you could maybe even, okay, that might be a little bit too high. But actually, if you get the Monarch, so just see how the strength plays out on that. I'm going to leave it as Battle Gauntlets for now, but just make sure your strength is okay to be able to wear that. Alright. Now for the next one, for the rings, if we're going to be putting a Cham rune in here, then we won't need Ravenfrost. But if we don't have a Cham rune in one of our gear items, then we will need it because of the cannot be frozen, okay? If you do get a Cham in one of these items, then you can maybe go with like a Nagel. Perfect Nagel. That would be cool. But other than that, you're going to want to keep Raven on there, okay? And for the next ring, you're going to want a Stone of Jordan. Alright. Now, I almost forgot something, but we're going to put a socket in here, and then this is going to be a rainbow facet. And we're going to want a fire version, maybe the fire level up version, fire, it doesn't matter really. Just go with the level up version. Okay. And there we go. Rainbow facet with a fire damage in there. That's going to be your best bet. Okay, now, as you can see, we're going to be at, actually, we covered this breakpoint, so we don't need charms. Unless you're using War Travelers. This set must give hit recovery. Yeah, so you're good, actually. You can use War Travelers, but you will drop below this 86% breakpoint here. I prefer to use the Treks because you're going to get enough Magic Find, really, through the set. As you can see, where is Magic Find? Magic damage. There it is, at the bottom there. Okay. So you can see we're going to get a bit from the gear. But if you did have the Nagel here, you would add another 30. And then say if you got a Geats, that would be another 40-ish or so. 38, 39, 40, something like that. So you'd be pretty good on the Magic Find there. Alright. So we're going to check our resists and everything. Our resists seem pretty good so far, actually. But let's take a look at the stats because we need to make sure we have enough strength and everything. Okay, this is the only thing that gives strength. So to wear this Monarch, we're going to need a bit of strength here. Quite a bit. which is the reason I don't prefer to use tile set, but at least with this MeteOrb build, it's a pretty good bet to go for. Okay, can put these on. We still need a bit more strength for the Monarch, just a bit more here. All right, 6, there we go. Okay, this is going to be giving us 15 strength, depending on your roll, because this roll can vary, as you can see, but this is going to help you equip that Monarch, okay? Now, if you had an Annihilus, oops, if you have an Annihilus, and let's say you have a torch as well, Sorceress torch here. Well, these are going to be 20 stats, but if you get something, if you get a reasonable roll, well, you're going to be able to lower this a lot. Okay, so it'll save you some strength if you get these charms. Okay, and we're going to be going to about there. All right. And as you can see, our cold mastery is pretty high just from our skills alone. Our frozen orb is pretty good damage just by itself. And then the fire mastery is going to be at like 28, level 28. It's 226%, or 219 rather. Percent. So it's a good 200% on your fire damage. So that's going to be pretty helpful. Alright, now for the rest, you're going to drop into vitality because we're not going to use any dexterity on this build, okay? Alright. Now, as you can see, our cast rate is exactly at the 105 breakpoint, which is good. And we're only going to be using cold and fire spells, so we'll be doubly covered with that. Because as you know, lightning abilities have a different frame, faster cast rate table, so just be aware of that. I believe 117 is what you want to go for with lightning builds, but this is a MeteOrb fire and cold build, so you'll be okay with that. Okay. Now the tile set gives us some good bonus. It gives us some negative enemy resistance, as you can see with the completed set bonuses here, and the different bonuses on the items. But this is going to be our main focus here is this set and optimizing it. So we're going to go ahead and we'll save this, okay? And we will write the name in. MeteOrb version 1, or MeteOrb, we'll just leave it like that. Whoops. MeteOrb. Okay. And we want to clone this because I want to show you guys that we can increase the magic find pretty high. If we get some, just a couple runes here to help us. So let's say we put a burr rune in here, and let's say we put a cham in this. These can switch around, and of course you won't have much damage reduction, but you'll have at least more than 0, and that's always good in my opinion, okay? But if we went to cham in here, we would really switch to the Nagel, right? And then this is going to boost our magic find a bit more. And if you added a Geeds, then if you get a perfect roll on that Geeds, then you're going to have another additional 40 magic find. That's going to put you up into 230, 238, 230 plus, hopefully, with this variant. Magic find variant. Okay. And remember that we're gonna have to use the cham in here, and we could even maybe switch this into an Ist rune, possibly, to even get more Magic Find. But I'd like to have a little bit of damage reduction just to not totally die from those physical hits. We will have a lot of life, but still, when you get amp damage and you're facing a monster with might or something like that, they're going to just tear you down if you have no physical resistance. But let's say if you want to go straight for pure Magic Find, you're never going to get hit, then this would be something you want to look for, okay? Now, if you want, well, I'm going to show the Mercenary really quick. You're going to want to go for a defensive Nightmare, Holy Freeze, to help slow down those enemies, and it's going to be synergizing with your cold abilities. And we're going to definitely just go with a classic build for the Merc. Ral, put a Ral in there, or if you can find this jewel. The Ruby Jewel of Fervor. That's going to help him out a bit. Okay. And then you're also going to want just an Eth Fortitude armor for him. Sacred. And yeah, Ethereal Bug doesn't work anymore. I noticed they removed this. So you could even get a superior one, honestly. At this point, it would be okay. And that's going to increase your defense. 2853, it's going to... from the 2715, okay? So this is our new workaround, is that we actually use a superior version. So if you find an Ethereal Sacred Superior, go ahead and keep that. And you'll want to use a Larzik quest on there, okay? Okay, now for his weapon... probably Insight on a Giant Thresher, or yeah, we'll go with the Giant Thresher here, and that's going to be Ethereal, definitely. Alright. Alternatively, you could go with a Infinity in the Giant Thresher there, Ethereal as well. Since Infinity is going to help against those fire immunes, but not really all of them. It's not as good for a fire build as it is for lightning build, because of the way the monster resists are stacked up in hell. So lightning is able to be broken more often than, say, the fire immune monsters. So I'm going to say stick with just, or good old Insight on there, okay? And, oh, whoops, she has the, yeah, here we go. These sockets are supposed to be empty, since we're using Ravenfrost here on this one. I guess it saves the same items, but yeah, I'll work that out after the video. I'll have them down here in the tab. But basically, we're gonna have this is gonna be our main MeteOrb build, right? Okay. And look, we've got max resists. We've got some pretty good absorbs here. Cold absorb, magic absorb from that spirit. Our defense from missile from the Tal's set is actually nice. And what about swap? Well, it's gonna be the same. Go for a call to arms in something like a crystal sword, because it's only gonna require strength, as opposed to that flail, which requires a little bit of dexterity. And then you're gonna want just a Junko spirit, just for casting, okay? This isn't gonna matter, so I'm gonna just put it at 30, alright? 30, so just to cast things. Alright, and let's see, we're gonna cast our battle commands, we're gonna cast our battle orders, and boom. Now, we're going to cast Frozen Armor because this is a sorcerer. This is going to boost our sorceress abilities, so we'll still have higher abilities, plus abilities, with this when we're going to cast Frozen Armor. Okay. But this is going to be my MeteOrb build. So as you can see, our fireball damage is pretty good. It's about 37k, and our meteor is even higher. And then of course our frozen orb is going to be about 1,000 damage, but the way that frozen orb works, it shoots out all those icicles, right? So it's actually going to be sort of hidden how much damage it can really do. And that's why frozen orb is such a great ability, and it's why we only need to max this as opposed to the other synergy, which is ice bolt, and then getting this cold mastery really high. And this is going to be our points. This is going to be how we stack out on the points in the end. So nothing too bad. I would say go ahead and max your firebolt. Well, it's not max, it's level 18, but maybe this one will be something that you get towards the end, okay? Alright, so guys, thank you so much for coming by. That's my MeteOrb build. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and give a like and a subscribe on the channel. And I've got plenty more builds coming for you guys over the holidays coming up. And also subscribe and you'll get notified when I do live streams and everything like that. Come hang out in the channel. Come play with me if you want. I'm pretty much just leveling up all my characters and testing out builds and stuff like that. It's hard to get all these items, of course, but I eventually plan to get at least one set of these things and then share them amongst my characters. So thank you guys for coming by, and we'll see you in the next one. So bye bye.